So that's on, and then,
are you ready?
How do you make a video?
Sorry? Goes live. Do you see the live one?
So ready and live. And we're live.
And we're back. Hi guys. Okay, so we are back to make our meringue to go on whatever you want it to go on, because it's just meringue. But we're going to prepare first. One thing to know about meringue is it is easy but finicky. If you get any fat, the meringue will not set. It will collapse. So,
Hello.
to combat that, hello, who's saying hello?
It's I guess,
Who, Angela?
Angela, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Words.
Hi. And we have another visitor coming in here. Not sure what she's doing. You want to come help make some meringue? So, what you've got to do with your stuff to help it is you're going to wipe everything down with a paper towel that has some vinegar on it. That will make sure that you don't get any, because you may have washed really well but not realize there might be a little grease here or there. And after going through all of this, not to have it set in the end would be a huge pain. So that being said, everything that you're going to use on it to be just to be aware, it might be a little bit high maintenance. You may not have to do this. It may turn out just fine if you don't. But I don't like having gone through all the trouble of making, you know, meringue and then not having it work out. So anytime I whip egg whites, I do this. And it doesn't take that long. It's just a few minutes to just wipe down everything with a little bit of vinegar, and then you just let it dry. And it's not a ton. You don't want to see the vinegar on it, you know, from there. But these are the tools I'm going to be using. Here is my thermometer, which actually is not clean. So I'm going to hand it to my magic hands here, Madison. She's going to go clean that for me.
Got it.
We're going to go from there. So I have my egg whites from earlier when we made the chocolate cream pie. So you don't have to have made the chocolate cream pie. You could just get egg whites out. Make sure that no yolk is in your egg whites or it will not set up.
Okay.
When you choose that, Madison, where'd you put the scale?
Scale's over there by the
Oh,
you put the book on top of it on.
Okay, thanks. So anything that's going to touch it, you're going to go through there. So I'm going to start with my mixing bowl, and you're going to need something that can go onto.
All right, vinegar
Have a double boiler. Thanks, sis. If you have a double boiler, you can use that. This works for me because it closes tight, and this is the bowl I'm going to use later, so it's less dishes. And also, I don't have a double boiler because this is what I do. I put bowls on there because I don't use one often enough that I really feel like I should have one in the kitchen. But I do have these, and they fit together well enough. What you're doing with this meringue recipe is it's as if you're going to make a Swiss buttercream, but we're not going to add the butter to it. So instead of, usually you'll see the recipes, especially for lemon meringue pie and those, where you just whip it, you take the raw eggs and you whip it, and then you bake it in the oven after you put the meringue on. And it's kind of foamy and it's glossy and it's lovely, but to me it's less stable. This meringue recipe is much more stable. You can put it on and just barely toast the top of the meringue because it's already cooked. The eggs are cooked while we double boil it with the sugar. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our egg whites in here. And I'm gonna measure out how many I have, and I will post the recipe because this was a last minute idea to do this. So I'll post the actual amounts, but I'll tell you vocally how many we have here. So I think we're gonna have about 150 grams worth. That's what I'm gonna do is for, actually we might have more than that. Yeah, we do. So depending on, if you've done one pie though, you'll probably have 150 grams worth. I am gonna take some out and use these egg whites for something else later because I don't actually wanna make that much meringue. I just want enough to go on my chocolate cream pie, which normally I don't. Normally, I am not a meringue person on chocolate cream pie. I like meringue cookies, and I like lots of other things. That's not getting that out fast enough for me. But for this one, we're going to do about 150 grams of there, we're going to do 250 grams of sugar. So we're going to put the egg whites and the sugar together in this pot. So I'm using caster sugar. You can use granulated sugar. I'm using caster sugar because it's finer, and so it will melt quicker into the egg whites. In the States, the granulated sugar you have there is great. What we have here is a bit coarse, and so I prefer caster sugar, but you can use the granulated sugar. You're just going to have to do it for a little bit longer. So we're going to do, it was 150 grams of egg whites. We're going to do 250 grams of our caster sugar. So I'm going to do it slowly here because I'm being bad and not measuring in a separate bowl, which normally is what I would do on the show. But today on this video, we're just kind of winging this. This was a last minute thought to add to this. So I'm slowly putting that in there. You could also measure this out. So like 150 grams of egg whites would be like 5 large egg whites, and it's 1 1/4 cup of sugar is 250 grams. So we're gonna go there. And what you're doing as we do this, we're gonna dissolve, we're gonna heat the eggs very slowly over the double boiler. There we go. We're gonna dissolve the sugar into the eggs, and it helps to separate that, and we're heating them slowly, so they're still gonna be liquid form. So come on over here and see. I need my pot, put this on. Doing a double boiler is a way to help control the heat. So I'm actually gonna just, see, it's not gonna touch it. I don't want this to actually touch the water. It will get water driplets on it because the steam will come up and hit it, but it'll get warm through the steam that's on there. And I'm just gonna whisk together the whole time. As this is going, I'm whisking. Right now I'm not going to take temperature because I know it's not even close to it yet. So, do you see? So if you don't have a thermometer, you can also watch and see when all the sugar dissolves. That's when it's hit temperature and it's done. So you can use the thermometer, and I'm just going to whisk this around. I just need to grab my thermometer. There we go. And we want it to get to be 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Celsius, I'm not sure what that is Celsius. Anyone have a calculator? But it's 160 degrees Fahrenheit is what you're looking for, because you just want the sugar to be dissolved in the eggs. And look, doing it this way, the eggs are not cooking. They're not going to be scrambled. But if I were to put this in the pan and do this, these would all be scrambled eggs. That's because it's slowly heating the eggs up, and the sugar is getting in there and keeping the eggs from forming bonds and cooking together and all of that fun chemistry stuff. So this sugar is starting to dissolve. I can feel that the pan is warm. Make sure it's on a medium one. You do not want it to be a rolling boil. You just want the heat to come up through the pan. But I still don't think it's even close, so we're going to look at what the temperature is. Yeah, no, it's cold. It's like 63, so we've still got a little bit to go. When it comes to it, when it gets closer and gets closer to temperature, it's going to rise really quickly. So you'll see. When this is done, we're going to add a little pinch of cream of tartar to it. You don't have to. That is just to help with stability. And then we're going to put it on our mixer, and we're going to start whipping it and getting air into it. So look at that, it's beautiful. This is the start to a buttercream. This meringue is how you do a Swiss buttercream. Is you would make this meringue, and then when it gets to be a certain point, and I'll show you on there, you would start adding butter to it in the mixer. But we're not going to do that because you want to use the meringue part. And that's actually when I started making Swiss buttercream and I got to this point, I realized, hey, I like this meringue way better than I like the traditional just whipping meringue raw. And so that's when I started doing this. And you see how the steam's coming? There's a little bit, because you can see it water condensing on the top of that pan there. So that warm water, the air comes up, it condenses on the bottom, and it's warming the pan here. It's conductive, so the whole pan is warm, but it's not hot. See, I can touch this. pan. This pan is hot and I don't want to touch it. But this pan is just getting warm from the heat underneath it. So it's hot, but it's still touchable hot. That's how you're not cooking these eggs. If I were to turn it up too high, you could still cook them on the double boiler. This just adds for like a protection. This is how, for example, when you make cheesecakes and you do what's called a water bath, it's the same thing, the same type of science behind it. You're wanting to control the temperature that is around the sensitive mixture that could, the eggs and the cheesecake could start to cook in a different way so that you don't get that nice smooth cheesecake center, but instead it's got a little bit of grittiness and lumpiness in there. And you don't want that. You want a nice smooth center, and so you can control the temperature around the cheesecake with the water bath, because the water heats up to the temperature, and then no matter what happens with the air around it, the water around the pan is protecting the temperature of what's inside the pan. So that's what's happening here. We're protecting our eggs. They're cooking, but not in a way that you would think. And you get them to 160 degrees, they're fully cooked, but they're still going to be liquid because they're suspended in the sugar that's melted. Madison has a furrowed brow.
Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to hold this still.
And I gotta restart my thing. It's a little, if you have a candy thermometer, that works too. I just happen to have this and it's really easy for me to do here. So we're getting up there, it's 100 degrees now. So it's gonna start heating up pretty quickly here. And look how liquid that is. I mean, and those are eggs and melted sugar. It's still a little gritty, so if you wanna know, you can feel it and go, oh, there's a little bit of grittiness to it, so you know it's not quite ready to be whipped yet.
So, Mom, we have a question
Yes.
from Angela. What is the brand name of your big kitchen mixer, the big one?
It doesn't have a brand name. I mean, it might have a brand on it. Madison would have to check that for us in a second here. The big mixer I got at Dragon Mart in Dubai. What does it say on the front?
Something in, I think, like some sort of Chinese.
Here, you can take a picture of it for her on
Here,
Instagram.
I'll show you guys our big mixer. And this is what it has. It says HL on it.
Yeah.
That's the only English letters on it. But besides that, it's all in like Chinese.
And I've used that thing so much, and it works great. It's been awesome. And it only cost me a little bit more than my KitchenAid cost me. So I got that huge one at Dragon Mart. Make sure you're there to bargain. Oop, we're there. It's 160 degrees. Come see. You put it up. See how it's foaming there? There we go.
Woo, steam.
Yep. Okay, so we're ready. Look at that. Now this is going to be hot, right? You're talking about my mixer. I'm going to grab my whisk. And we're going to put it onto...
It's fun to drag around a tripod.
You can just sit them down, Madison. Pull it back. There you go. Oh, that's hot now. Okay, so now we're going to do this. Now here's the big question. Watch, every time I make this, it works so great, and then this will be the one time it doesn't. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to turn it on to medium and have it go. And as it starts to come together and cool, now right now this is very warm down here. So you've got to keep this moving. It'll start growing, and we'll show you a picture in a minute as it starts to grow and get the air in it. I need to put my little pinch of cream of tartar in it. Again, if you don't put this in, it's not that big of a deal. It really is just a little bit of protection to help it get really light and fluffy. So.
She says, I just wonder if Dragon Mart delivers.
Well, I don't know if you'd get a good bargaining deal on it. They delivered this, but we went there to get it, and then they did deliver the mixer to us. And we just talked them down, but really it was, like this is my KitchenAid I bought in the States, and I had gone through, I think this is my 3rd or 4th KitchenAid.
Yeah, she went through a lot. She kept overworking them.
I did. I'd make more and more breads that were artisan breads, and I'd make several loaves at a time. And then I'd completely burn out the motor, and then we kept getting the bigger and bigger. And then this one I burned out the motor, but we got it fixed. And at that point, Carl said it would be cheaper if we just bought a big mixer. So that's when we got this baby. And I have actually made my meringue because I make enough at certain times, like if I'm making a lot of buttercream or if I'm doing a lot of pies, I have made the meringues in there. So if you come see this, take the video first and then bring it over this, okay? You're going to see it foaming. I'm going to take it up a little bit just to keep it moving, keep it going. This is going to take probably at least 5 minutes, but we'll see. We'll time it. Let's see how long it takes.
That's a little fast for this video. It's like, whoa.
There we go. And you can see it coming together. Look at it. It's getting foamed, so you're like, okay, it's coming together. And remember, these eggs are cooked, so you can just taste this. Now, I haven't put vanilla in. I'll put that in after it has whipped up. And you can put any flavoring in this you want. You can have different flavoring of the meringue.
Banana.
No. No, not you. But you can. But I'm not doing it. Okay, so we're going to keep that going. It's going to grow and grow and grow. So you don't want to fill this with that first part because it will grow quite a bit. This will probably grow to be about up to here.
Okay, she has, Angela has another question.
Yeah.
Our KitchenAid has a part that broke. We need someone with the right tools that can fix it. Do you happen to know anyone that can repair KitchenAids?
There was a number on here that we had it done here when we had it fixed, but it was probably 6 or 7 years ago. So we called around. I haven't found anybody else since. One of my kids plugged my Cuisinart into the, they didn't put it into the, just a step away from the noise because this is going to take a little bit. It's still hot.
So the last time when we got ours fixed, it was about 6 or 7 years ago, but there was a number on our KitchenAid, right?
Yeah, there was. I think I have to ask Carl. He might have the number for that. So if we do, I'll get that to you anyway. I'm going to need a whisk, not a whisk, but a rubber spatula, and I'm still going to rub it down with my vinegar.
It could always fall.
Always I do it.
Because it could still fall.
Yep. Careful with the finger, you might put it off. Oh, come look at this.
It has not, so.
Turning white and glossy. Look at that. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. She said thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. I'm going to stop it for a minute. It's not ready yet. It's still too loose, but I'm just going to rub it around the edges. I have found in these type of mixers, these stand mixers, that the edges, especially when you're whipping cream or egg whites, it doesn't reach them. Of course, because it would be going clank, 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 clank on the metal. So they're not going to make them to do that. But then you have a little bit, when you take it off, like the whipped cream would be loose on the sides or the meringue would be loose on the sides. So I stop and I just do a quick wipe around. There we go. I'm going to turn it back onto a high.
Back to noises.
Yes. And you want to get it nice and stiff. This is too soft still. You'll know when it's stiff enough because first the pan will be like, now I can touch it. I couldn't touch the bottom of the pan before. It was, I mean I could a little bit, but it was too hot. It was still like I'm touching cool away. But now I can touch it and it's getting cool enough. So that's one sign that it's getting close. Two is that when the mixer's going, it's leaving lines in the meringue. So go up a bit more. Now, you can do this by hand. It takes a very long time. Now, see how soft that is right there?
We need what's called
See
stiff
how
peaks.
soft it is there? It's still not, it's almost there. Almost. See, it bends over and it still holds up. It's just a little bit soft for what I want. What you're looking for is that you can take it and when you break it off, it will stay. And see, it's still a little bit too soft where it's not standing up. So we're gonna just keep it going a little bit longer. Will you grab my vanilla for me? just a few
Magic
minutes.
hands. You got two of them.
And it's really getting there. It's cooling down. When you get out the other chocolate cream pie and the show piping it, I also did a piping bag and it's so good to have children who are my minions. And when you have more than one child, one leaves the house and the next one becomes head minion. That's how we decided it. Okay, so watch this. Let's see where we're at now.
Here you
Can
go.
you guys see this? Look at this here. So if I boot up, look at that.
Stiff peaks.
Stiff peaks, and if I break it off, it stays stiff. That's how you know you're done. It's still soft, but the peaks stay up stiff. They'll keep their form. That's what you're looking for right now. Now, if I were making a buttercream with this, I'm gonna turn it back on so I'm gonna put a little vanilla in with it. I would then start, not right now, in just a few minutes, it's cool to the touch, start adding pieces of butter in. Sorry, let me back up. I would take this out, I would put the paddle in, can you grab it for me, Madison?
Yeah.
And have it going and mixing, and I would put cubes of butter in.
Yeah.
And then you'd wait for the butter to mix in, then you put in more butter, and you go, and it'll come to a point where it actually will look really curdled. I'll do this some other time, not today, but it'll look curdled. Keep it going with the paddle and keep it mixing. Just stop and keep it mixing. After a few minutes, it will come together. I've had a lot of friends who have made this and then they throw the whole thing out because they're like, oh, it looked lumpy and curdled. It just needed like 3 to 5 minutes with the paddle to just bring it all together. It looks soupy, but then all of a sudden it'll turn into this glossy, beautiful buttercream icing. This is the beginning to that, but we're gonna stop before we get there. We're gonna add the vanilla now because it's at the point. And I'm gonna add some vanilla with my sticky, sticky fingers. Okay. Because I want that little flavoring. Also, I like a little bit of salt. Maybe doesn't matter if that one's easy to get. I'm just gonna put a little bit of salt with mine.
Do you need me to crank it so that you don't get... Okay.
I'm good in magic hands, thank you. I've got this one in this hand. Not much, just a taste to give it a nice enhancement. Beautiful. Look at this gorgeous, glossy glossiness. Whoop, there we go. Look at that. And it's glossy. Look at there.
You're too close to the camera.
Oh, I'm too close. I'm sorry, I'll let the camera person do it. See how glossy that is? And firm. But it's still a little bit soft, I think because it's so warm in this kitchen right now.
Ooh.
See there? You could do it for a little bit longer if you feel like it's too soft, but the fact that it holds peaks like that, that's exactly what you're looking at. Now you can pipe these out and bake them and do a baked meringue if you like, and then dip them in chocolate. That's amazingly delicious. You could add nuts to it and then let it set. There we go. Look at that. There are all kinds of things you could do with this. But what we're gonna do with it is we're gonna top this chocolate pie we made earlier. What'd you do with the AC down?
Got it.
And also I need Dad's flame torch thingy.
Okay, we'll grab it.
I'm gonna just put this on for a second here. We're gonna I want it to come together. I've messed it up there for a second. I'm gonna bring it back together. We are going to top the chocolate cream pie with it, and then we're gonna toast it. So we're gonna move over here to this table. I'm gonna wash off my hands.
1 sec, I gotta move the cameras.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna do a little showcase of the meringue. If I can get this moving. And that's the wrong way. And there we go. Ooh, it's nice and glossy and fluffy and yummy, and I really want to eat all, but not yet.
Okay. Let's show. So this pie went in just a little bit ago because you guys saw me put this pie in. So it's not cold yet. Normally I would do this when it was cold. It's cool to the touch, but it's not cold yet. That's okay, because I'm really just here to demonstrate this for you. It's still, but even still, look at how that's gone solid. If you did the other, see it's there, but it's also still smooth. Like it's still soft and smooth.
One sec. Oh. I need to move this for a second.
So what I do with my things in there is I just tap it like that. That's the easiest way. And then look at all this deliciousness. Now I could scrape all that off and put it in, but then Madison's face would be sad because she wants to eat it.
Yes.
So I'm gonna set this aside for her.
Yay! You love me.
Magic hands get a benefit. Okay. I'm going to cut the tip off here. I'm gonna grab my thing here. Now there's lots of things you could do. You could just pile this on and just make this beautiful pile of pillowy, beautiful meringue. Look at this meringue, it's gorgeous. Check that out. Look at that curl. See that curl right there?
Yep.
Makes a little curl. It's so pretty. So you could do that. Here's the meringue. See how glossy it is when you make it this way? It's just beautiful. It reminds me of just like little angel
puffs.
Ooh, waves, ocean foam. It's just beautiful. You're so pretty. So I could just put that on there and pile it on there. We're gonna pipe it on today. So you can make different pretty things on it. But I don't like to do too much design with them. A lot of what I like to do is actually, I'll do this one. I'm gonna do the star one again. What I like to do a lot with the meringue is just have them be tall peaks. That's just sort of reminds me of my mom. She used to put it on with a spoon and then she'd pull it up and make these tall peaks, which you can do. Maybe I'll show you how to do a little bit of that too. Let's see. I get a spoon out and then I take it on here like this and I put it on and see she would do that. And then you just take this up and you make these tall peaks. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Maybe we'll do that today. Maybe we will just
So we already did a piping.
cover it, huh?
We already did piping.
Yeah, we did do piping earlier. And look at those beautiful, look at that. Yep, I think we'll do this today. And it looks messy, but watch when we do the
Blowtorch.
blowtorch. Yeah. And you want it to go all the way to the sides, so we're gonna push it out. And we're just gonna have it look super messy, but I think meringue needs to be really tall.
So good.
And like I said, normally I do not put meringue on my chocolate pies, but I do put it on the lemon pies. I still prefer cream. It's my favorite, but
I love lemon
meringue can
pie.
be so beautiful. And I get to light it, you know, I get to fire it
You
up.
can't fire up.
You can't fire up whipped cream. I mean, you can, but
It would just melt.
it would just melt. You're right. Look at that there. And I maybe could have let this go for a minute or two longer, but I love the softness of it like this. See how it's still folding over? So it's still holding up its peaks. It's done. It's just, it's so soft and beautiful. Look at it. It just looks like a messy,
Yeah, it's like
messy pile of sea foam.
that for some reason is like, we're going to come out of the ground and eat you.
Yep. Now this one, I could also sprinkle with chocolate to let it know if I didn't go to the ends completely. A lot of times you want to go all the way to the edge with your meringues.
That's after you flamboy it. I'm not even sure what it says. After el fuego.
So I go around the edge like this, see?
Or no.
And I just push it towards the sides, and you want it to connect. So you could just put this in the oven like this on broil. You don't want to put it in for too long because you have a pastry cream pie in there underneath there that doesn't need to bake. So you just put it on broil like that, and you'd end up with this beautiful thing. You can put all of it on there. That is a lot of meringue because I had a couple more eggs. There we go. There we go.
Now.
That would be the amount for there.
Now it's for the best part.
You could also, if you wanted to smooth it over, you could do like this. See those beautiful? You get all these lovely little waves and twirls and curls. There we go. I want a little bit more in here, a little more height right there. There we go. It's a little uneven, huh?
I think
It
it's
doesn't
good.
matter.
Doesn't matter.
We'll go with under. Okay, so I have this tool.
It all goes in the stomach anyway.
And you just go over the edge of it.
I'm gonna
Look
get
at that.
as close as it's safely possible.
And you're just gonna toast the egg, the meringue. And you don't have to cook it all because it's already cooked, because we cooked it on the stove. So you're not even, there's no worry of it being.
Raw eggs.
Yeah. Now the one thing that I try not to do is to cook the crust. Sometimes I have burnt my crust edges because I'm going along the things. You just keep the flame always moving back and forth. I keep it pretty low.
And it smells so good.
Mm-hmm. And it's gonna have like a marshmallowy consistency when it's all done. It'll firm up. You'll get different lines of depth in your meringue. See there? You'll have the darkness and you'll have some light areas. I'm kind of super loving this. I'm glad we did this instead of piping it. I think it's really pretty.
There's an area you missed.
No, I know, I'm getting there. And you just keep moving around. You don't want to stay on one spot too much because it'll burn. I want to keep some of the white in there because it adds a contrast, but I do want to get a little bit more.
I think it's perfect right now.
You do? I want to get a little bit more in some of the spots, like right in here. A little more brown. But I love the white there. There we go. Okay, I think we're just about done. A little more color over here. And that's really just however much you want. It's already cooked. So if you don't want to blow on it, if it catches on fire, you can just tap it with your finger and it will stop it. Of course, then you might burn your finger, so maybe that's not.
Angela says it's beautiful.
Isn't it lovely? Look at those. Okay. And that is our meringue. And now look at that. It's not sticky. It's totally firm. Look at that right there. And you would just put that, let it cool, and then you just put it in the fridge, and that is your gorgeous meringue. It's that easy. And it doesn't have to put the pie back in the oven. You're not trying to worry about the pastry cream cooking or any of that. It's done. The eggs are cooked because you did it on the stove with the sugar. It's out there. Now, if you have extra, I only have a little bit extra here, but if you have extra, you can, or if you didn't want to make meringue, but you have egg whites, you can make all kinds of things. Like if you didn't want to put a meringue on the pie, you could take this, I would whip it a little bit firmer before I do this, but you could take this and put it down like as cookies and just bake them. I put them in the oven at about 325, and then you would, I'm gonna have to look that up there, but I would bake them for, I would watch them, but I'd bake them until they were firm on the outside and crackly, and they will grow in the oven. They'll kind of foam out, and then you would turn off the oven and let them cool, and then take them out. But you have to let them cool slowly or else they'll collapse. But it's delicious. It's delicious topped on things. Yeah, it's just lovely. It makes a lovely, lovely icing. You can make an icing for a cake with this. I wouldn't put it between layers because it's not solid enough, but you could put this on top of the cake and meringue it, and it's a really light, nice flavor. All kinds of wonderful things. So I hope you guys learned a lot. I know this was a short video one, but I just wanted to make meringue the star of this particular video, so that if you just want to know how to make meringue, this is it. I will post the amounts, but I'll tell you again what I did for this. It was 150 grams of egg whites. Let me double check that. I believe that's what I did for this one, because this isn't the right amounts, but what I had, yeah, because I only wanted to do it for the amount of egg whites that we had from the pies about. So 150 grams of egg whites. You would have 1 1/4 cups of sugar or 250 grams of sugar. You're gonna whisk those constantly over a double boiler till it reaches 160 degrees. Then you're gonna whisk it, put a pinch of cream of tartar in, and then once it has reached peaks where it keeps a nice peak on it, you will put it in your vanilla flavoring, whisk it for a minute or two more, and then you're done. So It really is simple. You just have to know the steps to it. I really recommend always putting the vinegar on, because there's nothing worse than trying to whip up eggs that you've done all that work with, and then they stay flat and don't whisk up. And that would happen if you got foreign material in there. So you don't want to do that. So definitely, it's worth it. Look what you end up with. It's that easy to do a meringue on your pie. So have a great time. Happy baking. And I appreciate y'all guys stopping in and watching me do this, what I love. Bye. This one?
Uh-huh.
Bye.